at 12 noon. Are we good to begin, Mr. B? Okay, fantastic. I hereby call this meeting of the City of Denison Historic Preservation Board to order. My name is John Akers. I'm the chair of the board. I am joined by our fellow board members, Linda Anderson, Jennifer Knott, George Mason, and Brandon Fisher. Items for individual consideration. Citizens may speak on items listed on this agenda as items for individual consideration. Either there was a card where you could fill out, or you can let me know when we begin that item that you wish to speak on that item. If you're here to represent an item, you'll be given an opportunity to talk about it. Citizen comments and items for individual consideration are limited to 3 minutes. We'll begin with item A on the agenda, to receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a certificate of appropriateness for a property at 517 to 519 West Main. This is case number 2019-047H. Mr. Medina.
Good afternoon. It's good to see all of you here. So receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a certificate of appropriateness for a request to install stucco on the rear and side facades of the subject property at 517 and through 519 West Main. The applicant is proposing to install stucco on the exterior north alley, east and west facing exterior walls. Again, this is not the Main Street side. The applicant has received notification from code compliance to bring the property into minimum property standards. City staff has met with the applicant to discuss viable options for meeting minimum property standards while maintaining the historical integrity and physical integrity of the building. So if you recall, this was tabled at our last meeting. This is the subject property. Initially, the applicant wished to install metal panels here above where it says PBU panels above line. Again, on the east, west, and south sides, north sides. Met your request. He also submitted what the project would look like with the metal panels. So meeting with the applicant, we kind of went through some of the options here, and we ended up finding out that the brick on the building itself was in such a disrepair that simply painting over it, as our initial recommendation was, would not have been a sufficient fix. We estimated with the applicant that within a year or two that the paint would have started failing, would have started chipping or peeling, started coming off again, and we would have been in that same situation, except we likely would have had more damaged brick. And the cause of that was there was some sort of sealant applied to the brick in the past, which is preventing future paint from properly adhering. So moisture continued to get in, continued to get damaged. So on this building, you can see here, I might have another picture. You can see that there is actually existing stucco on the bottom part of the building. So the applicant has found a stucco-like material. It should match the existing stucco, but go over that failing brick to help seal it up and improve the structural integrity of the building. Let's see, anything else I wanted to mention? The applicant will need to remove existing paint and sealant. Now, it's important to note that while we would encourage that sandblasting and using of high water pressure to do so is not prohibited in the historic district. City staff recommends approval of this recommendation to apply stucco to the building. So I'm present here on the alley side, east and west sides of the building. So I'm present for any questions that you may have, and so is the applicant as well.
So can you repeat that last statement about the two you would use sandblasting to remove the paint?
Yeah, so in the letter of intent, it mentions that would be the let's see, hold on. And this letter is in your packet here. So it seems that the applicant has spoken with some kind of a contractor, it says Premier Coatings, that has a mobile sandblasting service. He has recommended dustless blasting that uses high pressure water and small aggregate to remove surface paint. So while we want to move forward and approve this, and we're recommending to move forward with stucco, we'll have to continue to work with the applicant to identify a more delicate method of doing so.
Thank you. We just want to make the problem more problematic
Yes.
with the removal of the surface material. Okay. So any questions for Mr. Medina or Mr. Salem? You're here as well. Is there any other questions on this application? No comments? Or a motion?
I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness for the use of stucco for the subject property at 517, 519 West Main as presented today.
Motion by Ms. Knott to approve the application as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mason. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the application signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? The application is hereby approved. Thank you for your working with us on this, and thank you for, good luck on the project. Item B on the agenda is for a certificate of appropriateness for a property at 323 West Main. This is case number 2019-054H. Mr. Medina.
So case number 2B, I'm sorry, agenda item number 2B, case number 2019-054H. The applicant is seeking approval for the proposed elevations at 323 West Main. The subject property has received significant smoke and water damage from a recent fire. The applicant will require separate approval for a facade sign, awning, and potential repainting. Some of that can be done administratively. Staff recommends approval of the proposed elevations. So here is what the applicant is proposing. It's important to note that the final product should look a little bit different. Again, as with our first applicant, we're currently working through the process of what method, the gentlest method available at removing paint. The applicant wants to take off the existing white paint. We've been working closely together on this. There's a couple of factors that are up in the air still. Primarily, we don't really know what the quality of the brick is underneath, what it'll look like. So this rendering shows that brick, but they won't know until we can start removing that paint. So chemicals are prohibited, sandblasting is prohibited, high-pressure water is prohibited. We've been working with Ms. Donna Dow, Main Street. She gave us some suggestions on material that could be used, so we'll be getting with the applicant this week to kind of talk through that. Also, I don't have the specifications for the sign or the awning. However, that can come through separately. And the main focus here was to get this main facade approved, so that way Cross Development's architects can begin the next step of planning out the building and reconstruction. So the building should maintain the existing footprint, which you can see here on the left. Here's what the rear is proposed to look like. So these are photos taken, I believe this was the morning after the fire on Main Street. 323 is all the way on the left, that white one with the 3 windows. And here's a side-by-side comparison that Cross Development drew up for what the current elevation looks like on the left and the proposed on the right. As you can see, they would be reopening some transom windows that were bricked up, fixing the awning. You got some just minor details kind of throughout from the top to the bottom that really make a big difference and bring that building back to what it originally looked like. Let me see if there's anything else. So in the report, we talk about how this proposal meets current design standards. We think it's compatible with the current look and feel of the neighborhood and the rest of Main Street. Again, we're working on finding an alternative method that's more gentle for these really old buildings for removing paint. It may be the case that if the applicant chooses not to remove the paint, then they would just need to repaint it another color. We'll work with them on that as well.
Is The prohibition on using the sandblasting is not to weaken the brick surface. That's what the intent is. We don't want to make a problem that's worse. So are you recommending that with this, approving this, that we maybe make the possibility for city staff to work with the applicant on the best way to do that?
That is correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
that's my question.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that we aren't holding up cross-development and their architects. So we're going to continue to work with them as this project evolves and develops, same as the Denison Hotel, kind of as that goes. We can't really go in and just do a one sweeping approval for everything all at once. I figured it's best to kind of take it one piece at a time as they come up to help improve our accuracy here.
Yes, Ms. Murray.
I just want to add that in the motion, you vote to approve it, to not approve it with any color selected yet. And so that's just to show
Okay.
an example, and then possibly to allow staff to vote with them on appropriate colors that are.
So we would approve the physical form and shape,
Exactly.
and staff already can approve paint color, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So if they're able to remove that color, it may be something, just to allow some flexibility, but it's not going to necessarily look like as far as the colors.
So what we're looking at is really the first floor, correct? And then some work around the windows?
And then at the top of the building as well,
The
you
top
have
of the
some
building,
crown
cornice,
trim.
Adding the cornice.
Yes. It's the color and the signage and awning that we're going to have to kind of take a further look at. We can't approve the awning and sign, for example, without specifications, is it attached, how so, that sort of thing. So I guess you're looking at the basic form and shape and additions.
I guess what I'm asking is not to have to bring the applicant through just for colors.
Exactly.
It would be within what's allowed in the historic district, depending on whether he can get the paint, that original paint off or not.
The applicant is here to answer questions on the paint and exterior if you'd like.
The key word is that we're looking at the elevation, the physical design of it, not the paint or the color of it. All right. Is there questions for Mr. Medina or the applicant? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness for proposed elevations at 323 West Main as presented.
All right, thank you, Ms. Anderson, for that motion.
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Knott. Is there any further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in support of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? The motion is hereby approved. Thank you, Mr. Medina, and thank you to the applicant for your work on this issue.
I'd like to commend you for stepping up so quickly and for serving as a catalyst to what needs to happen across the street. Thank you very much. And we know that you suffered significant losses, and I applaud you for stepping forward to begin the reconstruction of those buildings in that block. Thank you.
I'd also like to add that it's refreshing to see someone paying attention to the rear facade as well.
Exactly. Especially with alley activation coming up.
Yeah.
That's a catalyst as well. Thank you.
Great, we go through something exciting like this to the minutes. Item C on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes from our regular meeting held on October 15th, 2019. Any corrections, or is there any motion regarding the minutes?
I move approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Anderson to approve, second by Mr. Mason. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Any opposed? All right, great. Item D on the agenda is to take action appointing a vice chair to the Historic Preservation Board. Joe Madden was our vice chair, and his term expired at the beginning of the year, and we've been operating without one. So this will be a person, if the chair is not present, who would be able to head the meetings up. We also need to be looking ahead towards next year. My term will be expired at the end of this year, and so at some point, someone will have the opportunity to move into the chair position. Is there a motion for someone to serve as the vice chair? Yeah, I can get a waiver on my ability to motion meeting.
They all came today, so they didn't guess.
It's glamorous. You sit in the middle seat when I'm out here. Okay.
I will nominate Linda Anderson to be vice chair if she will accept it.
There's a motion for Ms. Anderson to serve as the vice chair.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Fisher. Ms. Anderson, discussion?
Doesn't have to be a primary or anything, does it? Of course, I'd be happy and honored. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will call the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations.
You're going to be hard shoes to fill if you should ever be absent.
So,
Mr. Akers.
Is there anything else, Ms.? Thank you. Is there anything else, Mr. Medina, before Ms. Murray, before we adjourn? We're good? All right. All right, motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. If it's not, we are adjourned. Thank you. They make me do that.